All right, we are doing a presentation on the BYU Idaho Map app,
I'm Hanisha Raburi, and
I'm Robert Dickerson.
and I'm Travis Confer. Next slide.
So this is an app that will be able to solve all the trouble that new students face and visitors when trying to find their way through BYU Idaho's campus. It is an idea that we have that will allow the anyone who visits the campus of BYU Idaho to have access to it and to be able to find their way through the campus. It's part of the main reasons we have chosen to do this is because it will relieve the stress on new students and it will relieve the stress on visitors, and they'll be able to find where they want to go throughout the campus by its easy to use process. And this has always been an important use of the school and something that we think would be very valuable to the school. Next slide. The reasoning behind this app specifically is because it's a concern for the school and for many students. The school actually has a program called Get Connected, in which they devote to helping new students get around the campus, learn all the different places and all the different buildings on what they're for, and to meet new people. And so during this process, they explain the buildings and they kind of show people around, but it's not enough. A lot of students still don't know where to go their first day. They don't have time to be directed to each of their classes by a specific person unless they know somebody already at the school. And so this app allows them to have that opportunity to just input data and be able to be led to their classrooms. And we have specifically faced these challenges ourselves. That's why we know it will be so important, because we as students know and have been through the challenges of that first day. Next slide. So this is a map of the BYU Idaho campus, and it has about 10 buildings with classrooms, plus an additional 4 or 5 that are administration buildings in which you go to conduct business. And so this can get kind of cluttered. You might get kind of confused on where you need to go with so many buildings so close. Next slide. So a couple problems we face is that having a map that leads to buildings and specific classrooms is that you will be able to see the building you go to, but how will you be able to see each floor? And so we plan on implementing different floors in a building. And so you'll be able to see which floor your actual class is on, and that will help with that process. But getting a student to realize that and understanding that will be a problem that they will have to we believe that will be one of the challenges, but we'll be able to get through that. That is something that we hope to accomplish with this app, that it won't be a problem. Next slide. This is our idea and the user interface that we currently have developed for the map app, that it will be able to see these different floor levels within the app, and this is what they might look like. Next slide. Some kind of the problems that we will face and the difficulties that we'll face as developers of the app is linking the app to Google Maps, which everyone already uses a lot of times. It's easy, you just load it up and it's right there. And so we're going to use those maps in order to help us to locate the different buildings on the campus and locate where you are, because you'll be using it on your phone. The floor maps, we plan on having them just be right on top of each other, and so we want to be able to make that happen for the students, that it'll be, when you go to a building, you'll be able to see all the different floors available to them. And then we hope to have different icons for very important things, like in a building, where are the bathrooms, what are the room numbers, what are places to eat, and these will allow students to be able to more clearly identify where they need to go. And then the last kind of problem we will face is getting the distance calculation from where you are to go to the place where you need to get to go to the destination classroom. We'll be able to calculate that and kind of the average time it'll take to get you there. For instance, 15 or 10 minutes to get to your specific classroom. Next slide.
Alright, I'm going to be going over the main objectives and then going into the budget and some of the specifics about how we're going to implement this app. The objectives for this app is to reduce the first week of stress that students encounter. Having to find the classes just adds upon all the stress of that first week, and we hope to reduce that. But we want this app to have a low learning curve. So imagine using Google Maps on your phone. It's easy to navigate through, or iMaps, for instance. You know, pinch to zoom, zooming in and out, flicking around the map to get to another destination. We want it to be just like that so that students will be able to not have many issues trying to learn how to run it. Another feature we want this to have is called caching, and so the app will store a section of the map on the memory, so you'll be able to pull it up without having to download it. So this will save battery time. This will save battery usage, and it'll save the students' data usage. Along with this, Robert mentioned earlier, is that the map will have these food stops or these sort of markers on there. So it'll have food stops, bathrooms, handicap access areas, things that you won't be able to normally find on the Google Maps looking at the campus. Next slide. Now you should be on the concept image slide. You see here's an Android phone. It has a mock image of how we hope this app will come to look like. In the upper left-hand corner, you have the current destination, and in the upper right-hand corner, you have the destination you want to go to, which is very specific to the room that you hope that you want to be guided to. Next slide. Plan for this is that we're going to develop it over a 4-month period. It'll be developed using the Android Studio IDE. It'll be coded in Java and XML, which is mostly for the Android operating system. In order to test the app and learn what people feel about it, we're going to be polling the students and rewarding those who give feedback as to how we could improve the app. That'll happen near the end of the presentation. I'm nearing the end of the development. There's going to be 3 milestones that we're going to focus on for this plan, and it'll include the development of the user interface, the routing algorithms so that we know how fast it'll take to get from one class to the other, and points of interest that we mentioned earlier. Next slide. In this slide you have the Gantt chart, which shows where we plan to develop during each week and where we're going to focus on. During the last section, we're going to be polishing the application, which gives us a 4-week buffer period in order to complete everything, get everything working out correctly, and polishing out all the bugs. Next slide. Budget that we have allocated for this will consist of $22,000 and $22,250 total. Starting from the top, there's going to be 3 employees. That all those wages are going to take up the bulk of the cost. The workstations cost $2,550, and then the gift cards for the student testers is going to cost $500. Next slide. Here we have the breakdown of those prices. So the students, the workers that are going to be developing the app are going to be students, and those students will be paid $20 an hour and work 20 hours a week for $400. $400 per student per week times the 14 weeks, so you get $6,400, and then for those three workers, it comes out to be $19,200. Each of the individual workstations will cost $850 each, so that'll be $2,500. And then the program testers will get these $5 gift cards for helping us out. We're going to allocate around 100 of them, these gift cards, for the BYUI bookstore, and we hope to be able to get under 100 testers. Next slide.
Okay, personal and qualification. Next slide. So Robert Dickerson, he's going to be our project manager. He's going to take care of the meetings of the stakeholder of the project and make final decisions, and oversees the progress of the project and trains on how to build the app and all. And next slide. Hanisha It's me. I'm going to be the operating officer, and I'm going to make sure that we're going to reach our goals on time, and we're going to keep everyone follow the Gantt chart that Travis mentioned before, and maintain schedules for all our meetings. Next slide. So Travis is going to be our software architect. So he's going to take care of the UML diagrams, and he's going to maintain the code structure and make sure that the code has less bugs and all. Next slide. So for this app, we're going to need a workstation for building this app. So the workstation includes an Intel i5 processor, and we're going to use an 8 GB RAM and 500 GB hard drive. And we need an office and 3 desks and 3 chairs for 3 of us to work on this. Next slide. So my first semester when I came here, I had a hard time finding my classes. So I'm from India, so it's hard. This is completely new place for me. So it was very hard for me to find my classes, and I was late for my first day classes, and also I thought this app would be really helpful for freshmen and also for visitors who are visiting campus. So it would help them go to every place they want. It shows them the floor, the location of certain room also on campus. So this is why we thought this app is a really good help for all the students. And do you guys have any questions?
I have a question. So I know you talked about that you're creating an Android app, but what about people who use iPhones and the iOS operating system? Are you going to create an app for that, or do you have any plans?
There is already an app created, to my knowledge, that was on the App Store last time I checked, that is already available for iPhones. But there is not one for the Android yet, which is why we decided to focus on developing one for the Android operating system.
And we'll be developing an Android Studio, which is mainly for that phone. It'll help us kind of tailor to that phone to make it kind of easier to use for those students. But there could be one in the future. We could try and help out with that.
Gotcha. Okay.
This app seems like a little terminal. Like you'll get it your freshman first semester, and then you'll use it probably for a couple days, and then never use it again is what it seems like. Do you have any ideas to maybe keep an active user base?
Well, the success of, did you want to say something?
So it could be used by visitors who visit campus.
The success of the app isn't conditional upon how often it's used each day. We're mostly making this for a specific purpose, kind of a seasonal app. And although it's not going to be used as much during the rest of the semester as it will be during the first few weeks, those first few weeks will definitely be worth the development of this app.
Yeah, it reduces stress too.
As long as we accomplish that purpose, that's the main point of the app.
Do you guys also plan on including apartment complexes?
Not so far.
Yeah. All right.
But that's a good idea. We'll
Yeah,
think about that
we
too.
can definitely include that for future use because we can expand it to the area around.
So you guys said you guys needed workstations. Do you guys have in mind certain builds for the workstations, or
Yes,
like what? Or you guys just...
we don't have a specific model or brand in mind, but we have the specifications listed out as having an i5 processor, 8 gigabytes of RAM, with at least, I think it was 500 gigabytes of hard drive space.
Yeah,
so
right.
whichever company could fulfill those demands, the estimate was going to be $850 per unit.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.